Welcome friends. Today we are going to study about design of IC engine component. There are various kind of component in the IC engine like piston, cylinder, connecting rod, crankshaft, camshaft, piston rings, connecting rings, right? But we are going to study about the cylinder. The first component of the IC engine is cylinder. This is the schematic diagram of the IC engine which includes all parts like piston, connecting rod, cylinder, gudgeon pin, connecting pin, crank pin, camshaft, right? All the main part, all the principal part of the IC engine are shown in this schematic diagram. We are going to study all these principal parts of an IC engine in this chapter. Right. Today we are going to study about the design of cylinder, the main principal parts which are included in the cylinder are piston, cylinder liner, jacket, right? These are the main principal parts which are included in the cylinder. Now, what is the function? The main function of the engine cylinder, right? Why we are using the cylinder? So, the main function of the cylinder is to retain the working fluid which are inlet with the help of inlet valve, right? Whenever the inlet valve is open and fuel like petrol plus air mixture or a diesel which are inlet in the cylinder, the main function of the cylinder is to retain the working fluid. And the next function now is the subsidiary function to guide the piston. Means whenever the piston moves to TDC to BDC or BDC to TDC, the function of the cylinder is to guide the piston to move from TDC to BDC and BDC to TDC. Now, the main and important part of this design of cylinder is the requirement of material. What is the main requirement to select the material is the first, whatever the work is done in the cylinder is at high temperature. Why? Because of the combustion of fuel is occurs inside the cylinder in the IC engine, right? Whereas the in external combustion engine, the combustion take place outside of this cylinder. But in the IC engine, the combustion of fuel take place inside the cylinder. The temperature of the cylinder goes high. So the first main requirement is to withstand the high temperature due to the combustion of fuel. The next main requirement to select the material is the material should withstand the high pressure and impact load during the combustion. Now, high pressure which is occurs due to the gaseous flue gases, right? The high pressure which is occurs due to the flue gases which is converted from the fuel, right? Whenever the fuel take place the combustion, right? Whenever the combustion of fuel take place is the fuel is converted into the flue gases, right? And the generalized law is what? Whenever the liquid is converted into the gas, it required more space, right? But the volume of the cylinder is constant. So what happened? It it impact it the flue gases impact this piston surfaces with the high pressure, right? So the main second requirement to select the material is to withstand high pressure and impact load generated during the combustion. Now, which material are used to make engine cylinder? The first is cast iron and second one is cast steel. Now, due to the high temperature generate inside the cylinder, we have to use a coolant to Why should we have to use the coolant? Because control or maintain the temperature to the inside the cylinder, right? First cooling requirements means the single cylinder engine, as example of scooter or motorcycle, right? The cooling is done by air, like are fins are available at the cylinder, right, around the cylinder. Now whenever we are using cars or heavy vehicles like multi-cylinder engines, there are water jackets around the cylinder to cool it, or to maintain the temperature, to maintain the high temperature inside the cylinder. The water jackets are used to decrease the temperature or control the temperature, right? Next part is cylinder liner, right? What is the main function of this cylinder liner? The cylinder liners are provided with cylinder liner, so in that case the wear they can be easily replaced, right? What is the main function? The function is to protect the cylinder from wear. Okay, now there are two types of the liners. First one is the dry liner and second one is the wet liner. Whenever the liners are directly contact with the water or the cooling water, right, it's called as wet liner. And whenever the liners are not directly contact with the cooling water is known as dry liner, right? What is the main properties of the material to select for the cylinder liner is, first, the main function is good wear ability, good quality close grain cast iron. First material, right, means the material which having wear ability, means which has less, which has ability to protect the wear is the may also used for the cylinder liner for its long life. The second material is nickel cast iron, nickel chromium cast iron, nickel chromium cast steel with molybdenum, right? The inner surface of the liner property heat treated to obtain a hard surface to reduce a wear, right? This is the main function to reduce the wear. We have to heat treated of the material for what? For the cylinder liner. Next part, the design of cylinder. To develop a cylinder, we have to find four kind of things. First is the thickness of the cylinder wall, right? Bore means the diameter of the cylinder. Length of the cylinder means the height, we can say the cylinder height. And cylinder flange, stud and cylinder head. Cylinder flange and cylinder stud are used to fixed cylinder head to cylinder. Now the thickness of cylinder wall. How can we find the thickness of the cylinder wall? Is due to the gas pressure or the maximum pressure generated due to the flue gases and piston side thrust, right? The first point, the gas pressure. Why the gas pressure is exerted to the cylinder? Whenever the combustion take place inside the cylinder, the liquid or the fuel is converted into the flue gases, right? So what happened? The pressure exerted on the cylinder wall and the surface of the piston. Okay, so this gas pressure exerted on the cylinder is the maximum pressure. Okay, now to withstand this pressure, the minimum requirement of thickness of cylinder we have to find. Next, the piston side thrust. Whenever piston moves from TDC to BDC and BDC to TDC, means when the piston reciprocate inside the cylinder, then the thrust or the shear which take place with the cylinder wall, inside wall, is known as piston side thrust. The gas pressure produces two types of stresses inside the cylinder. One is longitudinal stress and second one is the circumferential stress, right, which is denoted in this figure. Now, piston side thrust tends to bend the cylinder wall whenever piston reciprocate, and due to the reciprocate of the piston, the stress which is produced on the cylinder wall, it tends to bend the cylinder, right? Why? Because that stress is perpendicular to the surface of the cylinder, means wall of the cylinder, so it tends to bend the cylinder. Now, but the stresses which is produced due to the piston side thrust is very small, so it may be neglected. Next part, the gas pressure. The gas pressure produce the longitudinal stress and circumferential stress. So the equation of longitudinal stress, sigma L, is equal to force upon area, is equal to force is pi by 4 d square into P, right, divided by area is pi by 4 into do square minus d square. Do is the outer diameter of the cylinder and d is the inside diameter of the cylinder. So for the hollow cylinder, same apparent circumferential stress sigma c is equal to force upon area. Now, what is the area we are taking here is the circumferential area of the cylinder. So the sigma c is equal to d into L into P divided by 2T into L. So the equation of circumferential stress sigma c is equal to d into P divided by twice T. Now, the net longitudinal stress which are affected from circumferential stress is equal to sigma L minus sigma C divided by m, where the 1 upon m is known as Poisson ratio and it is usually taken as 0.25. Why this is net longitudinal stress are taken by us? Because the net stress effect are decreased due to the circumferential stress, and because of the longitudinal stress the circumferential stress effect are reduced. So both net longitudinal stress and net circumferential stress are find out by subtract the multiplying with Poisson's ratio. Okay, next, the thickness of the cylinder, we can find that T is equal to P into D divided by twice sigma C plus C. Now see, sigma L, longitudinal stress and circumferential stress, two stress are produced, but we are taking circumferential stress to find the thickness of the cylinder. Why? Because the longitudinal stress always less than the circumferential stress which is produced in the cylinder, right? So this circumferential stress is greater than the longitudinal stress, right? So if the thickness is safe for the circumferential stress, then it is also safe for the longitudinal stress. So the thickness of the cylinder wall T is equal to P into D divided by twice sigma C plus capital C, which the capital C is allowance for reboring. Whenever the requirement of reboring, we can use it the rebore. Whereas sigma c is the permissible circumferential stress or hoop stress for the cylinder material, which can be taken as 35 megapascal to 100 megapascal depending upon the size and material of the cylinder. Now, thickness of the water jacket wall, if we are using it, if the multi-cylinder engine are used, the jacket we are using, then the thickness of the jacket wall is equal to 0.032 d plus 1.6 mm or t by 3, okay, for the bigger cylinder and 3t by 4 for smaller cylinder. Now water space between outer cylinder wall and inner jacket wall, we are using the jacket outside the cylinder, right? Means outer cylinder wall and inner cylinder wall are having some space. For what? For the water, we have to cool this cylinder. Due to the high temperature, the space are needed for the water circulation is 10 mm for 75 mm cylinder and 75 mm for 750 mm cylinder, or if the dimensions are changed, we can use 0.08 d plus 6.5 mm. Now second terminology of the cylinder, we we have to find bore and length of the cylinder, means the diameter of the cylinder, diameter inside diameter, bore means inside diameter of the cylinder, and length means the stroke length, length means the total length of the cylinder. Now how can we find the bore and length of the cylinder? So we have to calculate what power produced inside the cylinder due to the combustion, okay. So it called at indicated power. The power produced inside the engine cylinder due to the combustion of the fuel is called as indicated power, and the equation of indicated power ip is equal to pm LAN divided by 60, where small n is denoted at number of working stroke per minute, is generally different for different kind of engine, like capital small n is equal to capital N for 2-stroke engine and capital N by 2 for 4-stroke engine, where capital N is equal to speed of the engine and L is the length of stroke and A is the cross sectional area of the cylinder, which is generally pi d square by 4, right? The maximum gas pressure pm means the indicated mean effective pressure, pm means indicated mean effective pressure, okay, and maximum gas pressure which is produced due to the combustion of the fuel is generally taken as 9 to 10 times of pm. Means whenever we have to find indicated power, we have to convert the maximum gas pressure into the pm. So pm is equal to what? Pm is equal to p by 10, the gas pressure divided by 10, we can find the mean effective pressure. Now third terminology of the cylinder, the cylinder flange and stud. The cylinder flange and stud, we can find the what kind of stresses are occurs on the flange and stud. The first, maximum gas pressure is produced on the cylinder wall, piston and opposite direction of the cylinder head. The cylinder head is fixed with the cylinder with the help of cylinder flange and stud. So the capability of the cylinder flange and stud is more than or equal to the stress which is produced on the cylinder head. So the stress is produced pi by 4 d square into p equal to the stress produced on the stress produced on the stud or flange, right? So where there are number of different kind of studs are used, right? It is not necessary that only one stud is used to fix the cylinder head to the cylinder. So ns is number of studs and it may be taken as 0.01 capital D plus 4 or 0.02 capital D plus 4. The distance of the flange from the center of the hole for the stud or bolt should not be less than small d plus 6 and should not more than 1.5 small d, where small d is the nominal diameter of the stud and bolt. In order to make leak proof joint, the pitch of the stud or bolt should lie between 19 root D to 28.5 root D, where D is in mm. Now, fourth terminology of the cylinder is cylinder head. Whenever we are design the cylinder head or develop the cylinder head, we have to find the height of the cylinder head, or you can say the thickness of the head. Okay, only one thing you have to find for the developing this cylinder head or design the cylinder head is the height of the, oh sorry, thickness of cylinder head. Usually separate cylinder head or cover is provided with most of engine. It is usually made of box type section of considerable depth to accommodate ports for air and gas passages, inlet valve, exhaust valve and spark plug, right? So the cylinder head may be approximately taken as a flat circular plate whose thickness TH is equal to capital D under root CP divided by sigma C, where sigma C is the allowable circumferential stress which can find before in the first section. Small p is the maximum pressure which is induced inside the cylinder due to the combustion of fluid. Capital D is the cylinder of bore and capital C is the value constant value which is 0.1. The studs or bolt are screwed up tightly along with a metal gasket or asbestos packing to provide a leak-proof joint between cylinder and cylinder head. The tighten of this joint also depends upon the pitch of the bolt stud, right? This is the design of cylinder. Hope all students understood, and if anyone have any doubt, then just ask me with the help of comment, right? Thank you.